Hey y'all, it's Bear, and today I'm here to ask you for book recommendations. So I decided to flip the game a little bit this week, and today you are going to give me recommendations instead of me giving you recommendations. I have like 18 different categories, I guess. I have like examples for each category. I'm going to tell you the category, show you like 2 books that fit the category, and then in the comments I want you to give me a recommendation for the ones that you have recommendations for. I want to turn this into maybe a vlog series where I read subscriber recommendations, so if you want a chance to be featured in that, then make sure to leave me some stuff down below, and if you're interested in watching that kind of stuff, let me know downstairs as well. So first we have horror where men are targeted by the women that they've done shitty things to. So basically like women getting payback against like the douchey men in their life who have hurt them. And we have books about horror movies, books where protagonists are fans of horror movies, that name drop and reference and like feature them heavily as their own entities. So books that reference specific horror movies like Scream or Texas Chainsaw or something referenced in the text. Then we have Witchy Romances. I'm not a romance fan generally, but I have a couple of romance tropes in here. Books where the protagonist and the love interest even can be witches, can use magic, maybe some love spells, some curses, some things gone wrong, stuff like that. Then we have middle grade about toys that are alive. It can be ventriloquist dummies, puppets, dolls, action figures, teddy bears, just like horror where the toys are alive and may or may not be harassing children, maybe finding their way back to children, like fucked up Toy Story. Then we have books that put you in the perspective of the bad guy. This is something I used to hate, and then Forest of a Thousand Lanterns kind of fueled my love for this, but books where you get in the villain's head. I want to read like villain origin stories, I want to read books about people killing people and enjoying it. I want to get in the evil guy's head because it's more fun sometimes. Hold a breath for this next one. Vampires. I love vampires. Please recommend me all of your vampire books. Preferably short ones because I think vampires work better in like short form, but any vampire recommendations are welcome, obviously. Then we have books where games get deadly. It can be like a board game, a card game, an action-y sport thing. I like games that have like a sinister twist where the protagonist may not necessarily know that bad things are happening to them. So just like bad games, evil games, dark, fucked up games with the potential for people to die. Next, westerns. If you have any western recommendations, like any western recommendations at all, put them in the comments. I am begging you. This is my most sought after genre. YA westerns or just like fun westerns, like written by contemporary authors instead of classic authors. Okay, then we have like any book that really dives in depth to the protagonist's relationship with the matriarch of the family. So usually a grandmother or great-grandmother. I never had a grandma growing up, so this is something I really like to read about, especially whenever it talks about like processing grief. I really, really like that. That's a spot that hits home very hard for me. Okay, now we have like settings, but settings that are characters in their own right. I want the city, the house, the town, the street, the whatever, to feel alive in its own right and be a character in its own right. Like I need books where the setting plays just as much of a part as the characters do. Then we have another romance one, and that is like cheerleader, athlete, sporty, queer romances. I love cheerleader books in general, but like cheerleader athlete romances are like my bread and butter. Any age range is fine, although I do feel like this trope skews more towards YA, but like anything with like a cheerleader athlete romance. If you have college recommendations for this, drop those down there too. So the next two go hand in hand very obviously in like a very obvious way, but we have science fiction or speculative works set around or in the ocean, and alternatively horror set in or around the water, aquatic kind of situations. This is my favorite. We all know that this is like the one thing that I will pick up no matter what. Okay, then we have one that maybe just be because I watched Encanto like twice recently and absolutely loved it, but books where the entire family has powers. magical families. They can have like the same powers, they can have different powers, they can do whatever. I just want books where family is like helping each other learn about their powers, and you know, they can process everything, and it's just like a normal thing for them. Then unlikely superhero teams. I want kind of like the misfit sidekicky squad who doesn't seem like they would save the day, but all of their kind of semi weird powers end up like working perfectly to save the day. Like the underdogs. I want to root for the underdogs. I don't care about Superman. I want like arm fall off boy. Then we have contemporary fantasy where everyone in society is aware that there are magical beings. So stuff like this. Maybe it's taboo and needs to be kept hidden. Maybe it's not. I like when there's like a societal awareness that like these creatures or magical people exist alongside like regular day humans. And we have horror that is music based. I am not really picky about what kind of music it is, though my preferred is violin music. I think it's a very underutilized trope in the things that I've read, and it's really interesting, and you know, hit me up with those recommendations. And finally, cannibalism. I don't know why. I've read like 3 books this year already about cannibals, and there's just something about it that feels more extreme than the horror that I've been reading. And I have such a visceral reaction to the thought of people eating people that just really fucks with my brain, and it's been working for me on horror. So that's all I have for you today. Those are the categories that I want you to give me recommendations for, so make sure you do that down in the comments, and I don't know, maybe I will vlog. We'll figure out what we're gonna do. But I do plan on doing vlogs for these, so like I said, if you're gonna be featured in that, drop those recommendations downstairs. And if you enjoyed this video, you can let me know by leaving me a like, subscribing, sharing, all of that stuff, as well as answering the comment question of the day, which today, aside from the recommendations, is I want you to give me a trope, and then I will in turn recommend you a book in the comments, because it's only fair. And if you don't have time, you don't have the spoons, you don't have an answer, or you don't want to answer, let me know you made it all the way until the end of this video by leaving me a yellow heart or a smiley face emoticon. All of my social medias, as well as everything I've mentioned today, will be linked downstairs, so make sure you go check that out, as well as places to support me further if you so choose, like my Patreon, my PayPal, and my Amazon wishlist if you want to buy me a book or support me outside of the channel. It's not mandatory, I just like to remind everyone that it's there because it does help me out a lot. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful whatever it is, wherever you are. I will see you next time for another video. Thank you for watching. Okay, cool, bye. I can't wait to see your recommendations. Did you realize how many books I pulled off my shelf for this?